What's going on, YouTube? So I ran a community poll about a month ago asking which Reggie you thought would be the best in Gen 1, and Regice was the overwhelming favorite for good reason. For Gen 1 purposes, its base special of 200 would top everything in the game, even Mewtwo. And the fact that we start with a move like Ice Beam is really going to make the beginning of this run trivial. And there are some folks who thought that Regice might even be able to compete with Slacking, and maybe even be able to complete the game on minimum battles. Well, we're kind of in for a rude awakening once we face Brock. And I did face Brock on minimum battles because I thought, well, maybe Regice can beat the game on minimum battles. While Geodude is a one-shot with Ice Beam, Onix outspeeds and Rock Throw one-hit KOs us. Now, sometimes you can get a battle that looks like this one. Once again, Geodude, we're gonna one-hit KO it with Ice Beam, and Onix, as long as it doesn't go for Rock Throw, it goes for Bide, and Ice Beam one-hit KOs. And so far, we're on pace to beat Slacking. Let's pick it up in Mount Moon, where we take the Superior Fossil and the Dome Fossil, and we can get our Mount Moon timestamp once we get by this Zubat encounter. God, these encounters are so annoying. Anyway, we get our Mount Moon timestamp, 26 minutes in-game time. And I decide from here, we're going to battle Rival 2. Gaining extra levels through Nugget Bridge will probably make Misty easier, although we're just going to be using YOLO Zap Cannons. Pidgeotto, it's a one-shot with Ice Beam. It did get off a weak tackle. Abra can't attack us, I just go for Stomp to conserve power points, and it's a two-shot to knock it out. Rattata next, I decide to switch to Ice Beam as it goes for Tail Whip, one-hit KO, and last is Bulbasaur. It goes for Takedown, but Ice Beam will one-shot it. So pretty easy Rival 2 battle. As far as Nugget Bridge goes, the trainers aren't a problem. The Mankey at the end with trainer number 5 didn't give Regice any problems. Ice Beam just one-hit KO'd it, which was nice. But I did cut off minimum battles here. I battled this Hiker and Youngster so I could get Seismic Toss. I thought it might come in handy for some point. Really because our attack stat is 50 base power, but we can go ahead and pick it up at Misty, who with our extra levels won't be a problem, but as I said before, we just go for YOLO Zap Cannon. It's a one hit on Staryu, of course it is. Starmie goes for Bubble Beam, and we miss our first Zap Cannon but hit the second one with the Cascade Badge in hand. We can go ahead and head to the SS Anne now, and I made the decision to skip Body Slam. As I mentioned previously, our attack stat is 50. We're not going to be doing too much damage with Body Slam. We're going to have a more useful move like Earthquake later on, and I think Seismic Toss is just better for the now, so we're going to skip it. Plus, when you have a move like Ice Beam on your arsenal with 200 base special, there really isn't anything that's going to stand in your way, like Rival 3. Ice Beam one-shots Pidgeotto, we level up, Raticate is next, it goes for Focus Energy, but we one-shot it with Ice Beam. Kadabra, it should be a one-shot with Ice Beam as well, and it is. And Ivysaur, it's weak to Ice Beam, Razor Leaf doesn't do much, and we one-shot it. So yeah, Regice is having a pretty easy time so far throughout Kanto, and it's only going to get easier once we say goodbye to the SS Anne and hello to Lieutenant Surge, where we can add another move to our arsenal. And although his Pokemon outspeed, they stand no might to the mighty Iceberg. Both Voltorb and Pikachu are one-hit KOs with Ice Beam, and Raichu, Thunderbolt does 15 HP, and it's also a one-hit KO with Ice Beam. And by defeating Surge, we can get TM24 Thunderbolt, which will replace Zap Cannon, and now Regice can unleash its true power. And we can pick it up at our Rock Tunnel timestamp of 1 hour 6 minutes. Just cruising. And I want to address a mistake I made in this voiceover earlier. Minimum battles actually came to an end in Mount Moon, when I battled the last with the Oddish and Bellsprout and the optional Hiker. Totally skipped over that portion in my notes. But anyway, we now have the options of, well, we can go anywhere really. And once we get to Celadon, we're going to battle Erica right away. And I did decide to train up against some of the trainers in her gym because the extra levels will come in handy down the road. But Erica is really no match. While Victreebel does outspeed, a crit Razor Leaf doesn't do much, Ice Beam one-hit KOs it, we outspeed Tangela and Ice Beam one-hit KOs, and we're going to outspeed Vileplume and Ice Beam one-hit KOs. We'll grab Fly from the house out west, and then we're going to finish business in Celadon by taking on Giovanni, and this battle is no problem. As you've seen in previous battles, Ice Beam one-hit KOs the first two Pokemon, and while Kangaskhan does withstand an Ice Beam, it goes down to the second one. With the Silph Scope in hand, we're gonna head to the Pokemon Tower and face Rival 4. And this battle's usually an easy one. Pidgeotto's the lead, it hits me with Sand Attack right away, as I begin to miss Thunderbolt after Thunderbolt after Thunderbolt as it racks on the Sand Attacks. And I miss a total of 9 Thunderbolts before I finally hit one, as Pidgeotto just keeps using Sand Attack and doing little chip damage with Quick Attack. It goes down and Gyarados comes out. It goes for Thrash. That's not doing much. We hit Thunderbolt right away to knock it out. We level up going into Growlithe. I miss. It goes for Ember. We're burned. Burn damage is now chipping away at us. And we're actually going to lose to Rival 4. That's definitely a first for these runs, and I bet y'all watching were thinking, there's no way Regice will lose to Rival 4. I try again immediately. We were speed tied with Pidgeotto, so Ice Beam hits first and one-shots. Gyarados goes for Dragon Rage, Thunderbolt will one-shot it. Here comes Growlithe after we level up. Can we one-shot it? Yes, we can. 2 Pokemon left, here comes Kadabra, it outspeeds with Confusion, Thunderbolt one-shots it, and Ivysaur will not be able to withstand an Ice Beam. So with better luck and actually outspeeding Pidgeotto, this battle was a cakewalk. And as you know, there really isn't much to talk about in Pokemon Tower, it's pretty boring. We can just pick it up where we're heading next, which normally you'd think, I usually go to Silphco from here, but I'm actually going to head to Cycling Road, and you can see me struggle to pick up the rare candy that's here, but I decided to head to Fuchsia City to battle Koga first because, well, I think we're going to get wrecked by Rival 5, and the extra levels will definitely help. I also like the option of being able to go to Blaine after Koga, but I have a feeling he would wreck us too. But let's just get right into the Koga battle. There's really not much to say about this one. Ice Beam one-shots the first Coughing. Muck, I think, can take an Ice Beam. And it can because we crit, it disables Thunderbolt, but we knock it out the next turn with Ice Beam. Coughing number 2 suffers the same fate as Coughing number 1, and Wheezing, Koga uses an X attack, it tanks an Ice Beam, Sludge does nearly half, and we knock it out the next turn. So we're nearly 8 minutes into the video, now going through the Safari Zone to pick up the remaining HMs. So I'm gonna throw this in here. Stay tuned to the end, I've got a special treat for you at the end of this video as to what's to come next month. Anyways, we get Surf from the Warden here, and we're gonna head to Silphco next. And we're gonna head straight to the 10th floor, because there's some goodies we can get there, along with a new move. All we have to do is battle this one Rocket, and we can get the Carbos, the Rare Candy, and TM26 Earthquake before taking on Rival 5. And I'm expecting this to be difficult if Rival 4 beat us. Pidgeot is the lead, it goes for Tackle, Ice Beam one-shots it, so that's one down. Gyarados is next, it outspeeds with Dragon Rage, we have less than half our HP left, Thunderbolt knocks it out in one hit. Out comes Growlithe, I go for Earthquake, it one-shots it. Out comes Alakazam, I decide to go for Ice Beam, it went for Reflect, it hangs on but we freeze it, so Thunderbolt knocks it out. We level up going into Venusaur, it goes for Petal Dance, we survive with 18 HP, and Ice Beam crits to one-shot it. Crit definitely didn't matter, but that was definitely a close battle either way, and definitely one we could have lost. But I don't think Giovanni will be. But let's just get right into the battle. He leads with Nidorino, we outspeed it, Ice Beam one-shots it, I mean, who didn't see that coming? We level up going into Kangaskhan, who outspeeds with Bite. Ice Beam doesn't knock it out, but Giovanni goes for a Guard Spec and we knock it out the next turn. Rhyhorn is a one-shot with Ice Beam, once again we all saw it coming, and Nidoqueen outspeeds and Double Kick does big damage. Ice Beam thankfully hits and one-shots. And Giovanni could pose a problem later when he has Nidoqueen, King, and Rhydon. We will cross that bridge when we come to it though. For now, we're going to take on Sabrina and wrap up business in Saffron. And as long as Venomoth cooperates and Sleep Powder misses, I think this should be a pretty easy battle. But let's just get right into it. She leads with Kadabra, who does outspeed, Psybeam doesn't do much, it tanks an Ice Beam, which shocked me, it disables Earthquake, but we knock it out the next turn. Mr. Mime is a bit annoying. It goes for Substitute, which Ice Beam breaks it. It then goes for Light Screen, and Ice Beam isn't able to one-hit KO it. It goes for another sub, which we break, and then Sabrina Hyper Potions it. I go for Earthquake because maybe it's doing more damage than Ice Beam, and after 3 Earthquakes we can take it down, but here comes annoying-ass Venomoth. Venomoth does outspeed and hit Sleep Powder, but we wake up right away. Ice Beam doesn't one-hit KO it, she heals up with the Hyper Potion. I had gone for Thunderbolt trying to knock it out. It puts us to sleep with Ice Beam, and then starts hitting us with moves like Psybeam, Signal Beam, and Gust as it slowly chips away at our HP, even getting some critical hits in. And Regice is just sleeping too long, and we get knocked out. And of course we're going to try again, and since we leveled up after the Mr. Mime, I should have leveled up on the trainers and popped a rare candy, which if you've seen the Registeel video, you'll know why. Anyway, Kadabra went for Reflect and then Disable, so we couldn't knock it out with Ice Beam. Thunderbolt does knock it out though. Mr. Mime, it's gonna go for Reflect, I go for Ice Beam, doesn't one-hit KO it, but we do freeze it. Thunderbolt finishes it. Out comes Venomoth once again. It goes for Gust, surprisingly. Ice Beam does one-shot it this time, so we're on to Alakazam. It goes for Disable, disabling Ice Beam so we can't attack it, but looks like Thunderbolt will be a 3-hit KO, and it is. It gets off a Psybeam, but it can't withstand the onslaught that is Regice, and its 200 base special, even though Sabrina did beat us once. And now up next we have probably our hardest gym battle of the run. And as we surf to Cinnabar, as I was playing this run, I didn't know how Blaine would go. But as I said before, we're at level 40, and remember what Registeel learned at level 41? Well, let's just see if Regice has the same blessing. While we do have Earthquake on our moveset, it's only 50 base power. Blaine leads with Growlithe, I go for Thunderbolt, doesn't one-shot, we paralyze it, but Flamethrower hits and does half, not even with a crit. We knock it out next turn, Ponyta, Blaine uses a Super Potion, we almost knock it out, and it traps us in Fire Spin. And we get knocked out. I decided to level up since I was really close to leveling. I battled a Super Nerd and this Burglar in Blaine's gym. And after we level up, after we defeat Ponyta who misses Fire Spin, the gods bless Regice, as it can learn Amnesia. And I decided to delete Seismic Toss for it. I popped some rare candies before battling Blaine again, hoping for better luck at level 45. Round 2, fight. Once again, he leads with Growlithe. I want to set up an Amnesia. Growlithe goes for Flamethrower, and it crits, bringing me to 13 HP. I go for Thunderbolt, we one-shot it. We need some luck the rest of this battle. We get a Super Potion, and Thunderbolt one-shots. With Rapidash, it misses Fire Blast, and we knock it out with Thunderbolt. Arcanine's last, we get first turn Super Potion. Thunderbolt doesn't knock it out, but we get another Super Potion and finish it off. So Blaine's AI handed us the battle, and I'm expecting Giovanni to give us the easiest time. Our timestamp is 2 hours 21 minutes. But let's just get right into the battle and get the 8th badge. Rhyhorn's the lead, Ice Beam knocks it out. Dugtrio's gonna come out, it does outspeed, it goes for Bulldoze, which lowers our speed, so we probably won't be outspeeding anything else. Ice Beam knocks it out. Nidoqueen outspeeds us, again, don't know if she would have outsped us anyway. Double Kick brings us down to 67 HP, Ice Beam knocks it out. Nidoking just goes for Peck. These Sanquia ROMs have some weird movesets. Ice Beam knocks it out. We level up going into Rhydon. It outspeeds and goes for Rock Blast and knocks us out. Okay. Of course we're going to try again. Once again he leads with Rhyhorn. Ice Beam one-shots it. Dugtrio this time goes for Tri-Attack and Ice Beam one-shots it. The Sanquia ROM has the weirdest movesets. But as you saw, Ice Beam one-shots both Nidoking and Queen, and Rhydon is no match for Ice Beam. So while some battles can go like that first one as you saw, there are times where battles go like this second one, and Regice just annihilates. And a trainer I'm hoping that Regice annihilates is Rival 6, because he can be a problem for some Pokemon, but I don't think he'll be a problem for Regice. Let's just get right into the battle. He leads with Pidgeot, and I want to set up 3 Amnesia. However, after 2, I think that's good enough. I start to go on the sweep. We one-shot Pidgeot, but level up, so no more badge boosts. Rhyhorn, Ice Beam one-shots it. Gyarados is next. It does outspeed and hits Dragon Rage, but Thunderbolt takes it out. Against Growlithe, I get a Gen 1 miss, and Flamethrower does next to nothing. We knock it out the next turn. Out comes Alakazam. It does outspeed, but goes for Recover. Ice Beam one-shots it, and Venusaur outspeeds with Double Edge, but Ice Beam also one-shots it. So with Rival 6 out of the way, we have the league next. And let's talk about it. Lorelei won't be a problem at all. Thunderbolt will just annihilate her, especially combined with Amnesia. Bruno, if we don't outspeed Machamp, that could be a problem. Submission, especially if it crits, could one-shot us. Agatha will not be a problem at all. We have Earthquake, but we also have Amnesia to boost our special and really take it to her special tanky Pokemon. But Lance, even though we have a type advantage over Lance, I could see him being a problem. Remember, Aerodactyl in these ROMs has Iron Head. Aerodactyl's also very fast, and Aerodactyl crits often. And on the way to the league, I decided in Victory Road to pick up that extra rare candy and battle a few trainers. I figured it would do Regice some good. We get our pre-league timestamp of 2 hours 36 minutes. We're not going to be beating Slacking's time, but perhaps Feraligatr and some of the other top runs. Anyway, Lorelei is first, and she's getting a bit of the Bruno treatment here. How I used to speed up through Bruno's battles in some of the runs where he's really easy. All of her Pokemon are a one-shot sweep with Thunderbolt with the exception of Jinx. I don't even set up an Amnesia in this battle. And with Lorelei out of the way, we can move on to Bruno, who I thought might pose some difficulty because Machamp with Submission, but he really didn't. And just like with Lorelei, we're speeding up this battle. I only set up one Amnesia, and it's a one-shot sweep with Ice Beam. So now we can look forward to Agatha. And the question is, to just sweep with Earthquake, or to set up an Amnesia to try to mitigate damage? Well, Gengar number 1 outspeeds with Dark Pulse. I use an Amnesia, it still outspeeds with Shadow Punch, and Ice Beam knocks it out. We level up going into Golbat, so no badge boost. It uses Haze, eliminating boost from Amnesia. Ice Beam knocks it out. Haunter is next. It outspeeds with Shadow Ball. Ice Beam doesn't one-shot it, and it hits me with Dark Pulse. I finish it with Thunderbolt. Out comes Arbok. It goes for Screech. Thunderbolt doesn't knock it out, and it goes for Haze, and we knock it out the next turn. 80 HP for the last Gengar. It goes for Shadow Punch, critting, and we don't knock it out, and Shadow Ball knocks me out. Thankfully, we just make it back to Agatha right away. I'm not going to bother showing Lorelei and Bruno's battles again. They're pretty simple from what you saw before. But let's see if we can get a victory against Agatha. Once again, Gengar number 1 outspeeds. I set up an Amnesia. It uses Shadow Ball. I go for Ice Beam. We knock it out. We level up going into Golbat again. It goes for Air Slash this time. We flinch. Air Slash again. We don't flinch, but we have 46 HP as Ice Beam knocks it out. Haunter's next. It goes for Dream Eater. Obviously it misses. We knock it out with Ice Beam. Against Arbok, it goes for Crunch. Doesn't do a lot. Ice Beam knocks it out. And Gengar number 2, it goes for Shadow Punch. We're at 8 HP, but Ice Beam knocks it out. And I didn't think we'd be losing in the league until Lance or even the champion. Agatha was a lot more of a problem than I expected. But we do have Lance next, and as I mentioned earlier, Aerodactyl could be a problem. Will we outspeed it? Let's find out. Lance leads with Gyarados, it outspeeds with Leer. I go for Amnesia, and we now outspeed after that first one. It goes for a second Leer. I go for Thunderbolt with all these badge boosts. We knock it out. Crit didn't matter. Dragonair number 1, Ice Beam will knock it out. And since it was knocked out with an Ice Beam, we know that Dragonair number 2 will go down to an Ice Beam. But the true question now, Aerodactyl comes out, it outspeeds, hits Iron Head, and one-shots us. And I did make it back to Lance a few tries later, but unfortunately it just ended the same way with Aerodactyl outspeeding and one-shotting us with Iron Head. So we're gonna have to resort to an old trick, which you'll see once we get to the Dragonairs. He leads with Gyarados. I'm gonna set up an Amnesia like usual. It does hit me with Hyper Beam, I set up 3 full Amnesias, it goes for Dragon Rage, and now Thunderbolt knocks it out. And now is where I need some luck. The first Dragonair comes out, and I mimic Agility, so that way we can use it to boost our speed and hopefully outspeed Aerodactyl. I get some luck, I set up 2 Agilities, it doesn't use Thunder Wave, we knock it out with Ice Beam. I know we're going to outspeed Dragonair number 2, we knock it out with Ice Beam. Aerodactyl comes out, we outspeed it, Ice Beam's going to one-shot it, and all that's left is Dragonite. It's 4 times weak to Ice Beam, and yeah. With some luck, we got by Lance. And next we have the champion, who I thought would pose a problem, but I'm feeling pretty confident right now that Regice is going to finish this. Let's just get right into the battle and find out. So against Pidgeot, I start by setting up Amnesias as it goes for Sky Attack, which does about a quarter of my health. Another Amnesia, it goes for Wing Attack, bringing me to half health, and I set up the third Amnesia. Another Wing Attack brings me below half, as Thunderbolt will one-shot it. But unfortunately, we level up going into Alakazam, so all of our badge boosts and speed are gone. It outspeeds and hits with Psychic, but it does next to nothing. Ice Beam one-shots it. Next we have Rhydon, who we outspeed naturally, and Ice Beam will one-shot it. But next is Gyarados, who outspeeds, goes for Hyper Beam, and gets a critical hit to knock us out. But there is a bit of a silver lining. We make it back to the champion on our next attempt thanks to our new strategy against Lance. And watch this battle against Pidgeot. So I'll point it out when it happens, but Pidgeot starts the battle by setting up Agility. I'm going to mimic Agility since we level up after it and we want to outspeed his Pokemon. Pidgeot then goes for Sky Attack after I've set up 2 Agility, and I'm going to start setting up Amnesia now. It hits me with Wing Attack, I set up another Amnesia, and I decide to set up another Agility after it hits me with Wing Attack. But watch this, I go to set up Amnesia, and it says nothing happened. I think that's because I fully set up Agility, so my special's been maxed out. Anyway, we knock out Pidgeot with Thunderbolt and level up. Alakazam comes out, thanks to all the Agility, we outspeed it, Ice Beam one-shots. Rhydon, we know we outspeed it, Ice Beam will one-shot it. Gyarados comes out. We do outspeed, Thunderbolt, it's 4 times weak, our special's maxed out, it's a one-shot. Arcanine, we outspeed, Thunderbolt. Critical hit, but we paralyze it and it's fully paralyzed, so we knock it out the next turn. And Venusaur's last, Ice Beam, and one-shot. And just like that, the champion is nothing, thanks to the Mimic Agility strategy. And I'm sure some of you are surprised that Regice actually lost some battles because, well, with 200 base special, you'd expect it to just mow through Kanto. But it finishes at level 60, 2 hours 48 minutes. That's the 3rd fastest time on the channel. And for the Sanqui only ROM, since we've done 12 of these now, I have to place it 3rd overall. I mean, 1 minute slower than Feraligatr, 6 minutes slower than Slacking, 10 levels higher than Slacking though. But I'm sure there's a question all of you have. And that question is, could Regigigas compete for the top slot with Slacking? Well, you'll just have to find out next month. I'll get started on that run right away. Take care, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.